So it was my first year I entered into college. I believe it was 1977, and my brother was just 1 year older than I was. So I guess that means he was, yeah, 1978. I was in 1977. So I was about 17 years old. So anyway, that fall of the year, it was for fall break, or it was actually Christmas break. So it was in December. We were deciding that we really wanted to just go all out and go down for a trip, and we were trying to decide where to go. So we had our heart set on going to Key West, which is at the very bottom tip of Florida. So when we get there, we flew in, it was December 30th, and we had decided to go out for the next day for the celebration for New Year's Eve, December 31st. So Key West is kind of a small little place, and we were about to celebrate New Year's Eve, and Key West's got a cool vibe to it. It's kind of, has a French flair to it. So we get to this party that's on the street, and granted, the street was completely blocked off, so there wasn't any cars going down it. It was all just people elbows to elbows tight in. And so my brother and I were signing, and of course, someone across the way who happened to be a hearing interpreter comes over, and he saw us signing, so, he introduced himself, and we all started chatting. So it was about to be midnight, and you know how it is on New Year's, you get those feelings that, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, where did that year go? And now we've got the next year coming up. It's very exciting times. So out of the corner of my eye, in my peripheral vision, I saw what looked like commotion, and everybody was kind of like moving around quickly, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on. And then you could see just like this thick yellow smoke, and it was coming our way. And I was still kind of confused what was going on, and the person next to me just grabbed my arm, and I looked this way, and all of a sudden, you know, So all of a sudden, that chaos just turned into sheer panic, and everybody was running in different directions. It almost looked like a stampede of horses just coming right at us. And, all of a sudden, everything just turned very serious. I mean, this was a really serious issue. And so we were trying to get out, and we were stuck. We were, in a wall of people, both sides, everyone's panicking. So the smoke just started coming at us, pretty at a rapid pace at this point, and all I remember is it was just slow motion. Whenever there's something tragic that happens, you kind of just get stuck in moving second by second. And I remember looking down and seeing my camera. I don't know why that image is just in my head. And all of a sudden, their panic became my panic because it's contagious when you see people panicking. It's just so finally, we were able to push out of the crowd and break free of all of that mass of people. My eyes are watering from the gas or the smoke, whatever it was, and it's kind of hard to see because it's just falling and falling water out of my eyes. And I just began to think, you have all these expectations of New Year's and it's gonna be great, and everything's just turned so morbid. And so finally, once I had broken out, I see from a distance my brother, and I guess he had just been sitting there throwing up, from the gas and everything that he had ingested. And finally, we see cops, and they're treating the situation as a riot, and so there's brutality going back and forth, and there's people that are scared. So our interpreter friend that we had just met that night told us, it looks like things are dying down, and go back home and go to sleep. And we just wanted to get out of there, so we left. And we flew back home, and I was back in my dormitory, and the clothes that we had been wearing were just saturated in this smell. They reeked. And even when we opened our suitcase, it was that fumes just came up and hit me in the face. So a few weeks later, the newspaper printed, a story about what had happened, and the big headline read "Tragedy," and it said the four injuries. There was someone that got cut by a glass, and there was someone who was unfortunately trampled by all of the people running, and one person that was just consumed with shock, which is very tragic. So it turns out, it wasn't even the cops that we had thought it was. It was actually like government sent army that came to break up the fight. And one of my friend's dad said that that was one of the worst riots that has ever happened. And they don't normally send National Guard or Army to handle those situations. So that's why things got they really escalated really quickly. And now to this day, whenever I go in crowds, my heart starts to beat because I just think about that fear that came over me back in 1977.